Got a beginning, you've got an end. What goes in the middle? My name is Jean. I'm an author, editor, publishing professional. I help you make your writing better. I am actually going to go look at a basic story structure to help explain what I mean here. So if we go to the beginning and we have a hook, this is your beginning, this is the establishing normal, and then you have an inciting incident that takes your character off the path that they were going to be on and puts them on an entirely new path. You know what your ending is going to be. So it means that you know what your resolution is and you know what the new normal is going to look like here. If you know those two things, then we should have a midpoint here. So usually right before pinch number 2 is about 50% of the way through the book, we are going to have this midpoint section should be halfway between who they were and who they are going to become. This whole first half of the book is your character usually being very reactive. They are being shoved out onto their adventure they didn't want to go in the first place, or they are going because they think they have to and there's no other way around this, but really they would prefer to just stay home and eat cookies. This is where Barbie is given the two shoes and she's like, "Nope, I choose not knowing. I'd like to go back." No, you have to want to know. We're going to force you into it. This is being pushed into the arena. This is being pushed and forced to act because you do not see any other options, but not because you wanted your life to change. Some point between pinch number 2 and the plot turn, somewhere in here, between 50% and about 75%, somewhere in here, your character is going to choose to become proactive rather than reactive. And this is different depending on genre conventions, and like there's a bunch of different reasons why you could choose to have them be proactive a little bit sooner or a little bit later in the story. This is, I get very annoyed when people are like, "You're making all the stories the same," and I'm definitely not. Like there's a big wide range of when your character can become proactive. But at some point, they are going to decide that they are no longer being pushed into the arena, but they are going in head held high because they know that this is what is best for them to do. We are no longer being pushed around. We are no longer being forced. We instead are choosing to act because we know, and in order to be here and to be happy and to be satisfied with our life, we're going to have to make some choices. We're going to have to fight to get there on purpose. So, what happens in the middle? Usually during this section here, we call that the fun and game section. This is going to be genre dependent. You get to do a bunch of fun stuff that makes your story feel like you, but all of that should be leading up to a decision for your character in which they are going to choose to become this person over here that they are going to be at the resolution. This should be about halfway between who they were and who they are. I already used the example of Barbie, so let's stick with that one. Barbie was perfect and had never had a bad day ever, and at the end of it, she is a real live woman who is going to go to the gynecologist, so she's about to have a pretty bad day. But in between, she starts to realize that the world is bigger and darker and more dangerous. She doesn't know how to navigate it. She is having messy, complicated emotions. She is interacting with the characters in ways that it makes her feel upset. And she decides that she's not going to get back in the box. So, where back here, she wanted to just go back to not knowing. They give her the opportunity to go back to not knowing, and she steps forward and says no. She doesn't totally know why yet, but she knows that she is not going back. There is something happening out here that she is having emotions and feelings, and things are changing, and she wants to see it through to the end. She steps out of the box they are trying to put her in and moves forward. So, somewhere in here, she has decided, she has experienced enough stuff that makes her realize that she's not going back. There's no more going back. So, what exactly goes in the middle of your story? I have no idea either, but it is going to be a bunch of events that make your character realize that she wants to be the person that you are going to force her to be at the end of the story.